How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Wow, third time's the charm, right? Sheesh. Yeah, this is why I go to the office and do the streaming and all that. Welcome back. Missed you all. It's fun having you in here. It's always fun talking ball. This is going to be a NFC West themed type of live stream. Um, I think there are four teams obviously in this division. I think all four of them have a chance to make the playoffs. So we're going to talk about it. The weather's not great. It is not great, and neither is. Let's see. So I'm seeing that we're dropping frames, and I have no idea what's going on because we have the same settings as we had on yesterday. So I'm getting kind of irritated. Let's see. That. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. Maybe try that. Huh. All right. Well, in any case, we're gonna try and make this work. It's not perfect. I don't know what's going on, but I will be going to the office tomorrow. I don't think I'll be streaming tomorrow, but I'll be setting my stuff up for the AJ show on Saturday, and then I'll be back to the usual, hopefully at the office. But yeah, welcome back. How we all doing? Ram Fan Ashton, Rams House, Mark, Daniel. How we all doing? I apologize, and the fact that you guys had to follow me on 3 different streams, but you're the real MVP. That's all I can say. All right. So, let's just talk about this, okay? There's a legitimate possibility that there will be 4 NFC West teams in the playoffs. I think it's realistic, and we're gonna go, through the teams. But I want to go more in depth. I want to talk about who their free agents are going to be, cap space, all of that. But we'll go through that. We'll have some fun. I won't be on too long, probably around the usual 1.5 to 2 hours. But nonetheless, the Rams, the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. I know a lot of you, obviously a lot of you, hate 3 of those teams, or at least 2 of them. At least one of them. But this is going to be a show where I try to dedicate time to all of them, because this is a sports channel after all. I've been doing a lot of Rams-only content, and I do have mainly Rams fans in here, so we will be talking about the Rams. But I do want to bring up that I am going to talk about the NFC West in detail. We're going to do that. So, first off, we're going to start with the 49ers. 49ers, obviously, they finished in last place, had a bevy of injuries. So what's the deal with them? What can we expect from them? Well, first off, they have $21 million projected cap space according to not PFF, according to Spotrac. So $21.3 million in cap space. Their free agents include, but not limited to, Trent Williams, Richard Sherman, Solomon Thomas, Jaquiski Tart, Kyle Juszczyk, Tevin Coleman, Kendrick Bourne, Kawan Williams. The list goes down here. I mean, it's Ezekiel Ansah, Kerry Hyder, Jerick McKinnon, Jordan Reed, Jason Verrett, Akello Witherspoon, Dante Johnson, Deion Jordan, Jamar Taylor, Jordan Willis, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, Ross Dwelly, Emmanuel Mosley. I didn't know they had Josh Rosen, but apparently they have Josh Rosen. I missed that, apparently. And Trent Taylor, and then Marcel Harris, and again, there's other guys. So there's a lot of guys, right? A lot of free agents. Why do I think the 49ers can get back to where they were? Well, let's think about this for a sec, okay? Straight up, this is a team that is very good. They're well coached by Kyle Shanahan. They promoted Mike McDaniel to the OC position. D'Amico Ryans, the linebackers coach, and a guy that played football not too long ago, took over for Robert Saleh as their defensive coordinator. I suspect he'll have a pretty good season. Richard Hightower is the special teams coordinator. I believe that's the same Richard Hightower that would be the youngest the youngest coordinator in the NFL. I could be wrong. I believe that is the case, though. Looking at this depth chart, though, you have Jimmy Garoppolo right now. And here's the thing with Garoppolo is that personally I'd move on from him. And he is a big cap number, but I really would try and dangle him to the Patriots. If they really don't want to trade him, though, and they want to, roll with him, that's fine, but they're going to be at a disadvantage at quarterback. I think you could get away with it before with Goff with the Rams. Now that they have Stafford, you have Kyler in Arizona, and you have Russell Wilson in Seattle, you kind of have to upgrade that quarterback position. So we'll see what they do there. I mentioned Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon, all free agents. So you look here, it's Jeffrey Wilson and, of course, Raheem Mostert, and JaMychal Hasty, the UDFA out of Baylor. So those are their running backs. Could they go for a running back in the NFL draft? I presume they could. They could go out and get another guy. This is not a bell cow type of running back group. This is a running back by committee approach. It always has been. So I look at it and I think, obviously they could go running back by committee in the run game. And then at quarterback, you guys know how I feel about Garoppolo. I'm not the biggest fan of Garoppolo. I've said this for a while. I loved him coming out of college. He was my number one quarterback, but that was a while ago. And now here we are, and he just doesn't really do anything for me, and he's constantly hurt. So I think they should move on from him. We'll see if they get a Watson or somebody like that to compete. But regardless, I still think they can make the playoffs, and here's how. Well, Jordan Reed obviously is a free agent, so is Ross Dwelley, but they still have Charlie Werner, who they got in the 6th round last year, who they like a lot. But they have George Kittle, who, in my opinion, is the best tight end in all of football. Then you look at the receiver group. They have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Kendrick Bourne's a free agent, so they still have Richie James. And they have Jalen Hurd, who's coming off a major injury out of Baylor. He's a 3rd-round pick in 2019, and he's been, riddled with injuries, but they really like him. Former running back turned wide receiver. So, you have to imagine that they're good at the wide receiver position. Could they grab a guy? Sure. They could absolutely grab a guy at some point in the draft. But, I think at the end of the day that this team is looking pretty good on the offensive front. They just have to obviously take a gander at their offensive line. You have Laken Tomlinson, Weston Richburg, Justin Skule, and Mike McGlinchey. I personally think they can upgrade the right guard position with Justin Skule. I think Weston Richburg is solid. Laken Tomlinson solid. Mike McGlinchey, they have high hopes for as a 1st-round pick. So what I would say here is looking at Trent Williams, do they bring him back? What are they going to do at left tackle? Because I do think, Jimmy Garoppolo has a hard time staying healthy. What are you going to do with that? Okay, so right now the backup would be Colton McKivitz. I watched him a lot at West Virginia. I would not put him at left tackle, in my opinion. I don't think he's a left tackle in the NFL. So that makes, sense to maybe go in the draft and at your options. Maybe they go, a tackle in the draft. There are some guys out there. Leatherwood is one of them. Penei Sewell is going to be way up there, just to name a few. But, this is a team that I think will be looking at left tackle. They'll be looking at potentially adding another running back to that committee approach. And I think they're pretty good at wide receiver and the rest of the offensive line. Maybe they add another tight end in case, just because Kittle has been getting hurt lately. The defense. Eric Armstead, they signed long-term. Solomon Thomas is a free agent, so we'll see where that goes. I know that, they liked him a lot in 2017 when they picked him for, in the 1st round, but now times have, changed a little bit. They have since added guys like Javon Kinlaw, Nick Bosa, Dee Ford. So there's a lot on that, defensive line, including Kentavious Street. That could, push him away and could allow him to test free agency. Then they have Dre Greenlaw, somebody that has really emerged as a 5th-round stud out of Arkansas. 3rd-rounder Fred Warner out of BYU, they absolutely love. And, I mean, how can you not love him if, he's on your team? He's phenomenal. Then they have, guys like Aziz Al-Shair, Mark Zachoa. So, there's some guys there. I think they could look linebacker in the draft. And then Jason Verrett, he had a really good year. This guy cannot stay healthy for the life of him. Finally stays healthy. And, he had a pretty good year. And, we'll see if they keep him. Personally, I think they should bring him back, but we'll see. Emmanuel Mosley's also a free agent. Jamar Taylor's also a free agent. And Richard Sherman's a free agent. So is Ahkello Witherspoon. So if you're looking at the Rams and their cornerbacks and thinking they're running out of guys, let me just tell you this. The Rams have Jalen Ramsey and David Long on the roster right now at corner. The 49ers have just Ken Webster. Just Ken Webster. So, Dante Johnson's also a free agent. So, yeah, it would just be Ken Webster at corner. So, they're going to be looking at corner early and often in free agency in the draft, I would have to imagine. So, I think their needs, left tackle, get that figured out. Maybe add some depth on the offensive line. Running back, I think they'll add a guy. They could go quarterback if, they're not entirely sold on Jimmy Garoppolo. I do know that they've come out and said that they like him. Personally, I would move on from him. And, I think they could go for another tight end. And then on the defensive side, maybe get another interior defensive lineman now that Solomon Thomas is out, most likely. Another linebacker. And then the corners, you have to sign some of them or replace some of them. I mean, you're only going to have one in Ken Webster, who is the very back of the depth chart. Then the safeties, Jaquiski Tartt is a free agent. Jimmy Ward is still there. And Tavarius Moore, as well as Kai Nakua. I could butcher that name or whatever, but Marcel Harris is also a free agent. So it's Tavarius Moore, Jimmy Ward, and Kai Nakua. And then Ken Webster in the secondary. So the 49ers have a lot of work to do in that regard. They can restructure guys. They can make moves like that. But they have $21 million in cap. I would imagine Richard Sherman's out. Trent Williams, that's debatable. We'll see. And Solomon Thomas, I think, is out. So with that being said, I look at this 49ers team and I think, I don't believe Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start. I know they're going to keep telling us that. I tend to, and you guys saw the thumbnail. You guys saw that wasn't Garoppolo at quarterback. That was Zach Wilson. I think the 49ers are going to trade up and take Zach Wilson out of BYU. I think he is a perfect fit for what Kyle Shanahan wants to do on offense. That's why they added guys like, first off, like a Brandon Ayuk and a Deebo Samuel, guys that can win after the catch, can generate extra yardage. And so, quite frankly, I do expect them to have a guy that can work off script, can improvise enough to get these guys open. You have receivers that want to get open, work hard to get open. And so, ultimately, I do see that being the case. So, where would Garoppolo go? I still kind of have a feeling he's going to be traded to the Patriots. He's going to trade back to the Patriots. We'll see. But just kind of looking at the 49ers, they have a good roster. They have a lot of work to do, but I still think that they can make the playoffs, especially if they get a guy like Zach Wilson. I think he'd be tremendous for their offense. And I'm not saying that they'll be a top dog. I still think they're probably the worst team in the NFC West right now, just because they have so many guys that are leaving in free agency. But nonetheless, I think they can make the playoffs. So let's first off, let's look at some questions. Let's answer that in between. Jake, if the Rams get Marvin Jones, they go into the Super Bowl. I think they're going to the Super Bowl anyway, Kellen, but I'll be honest with you, I would love Marvin Jones. Would the Cowboys trade CeeDee Lamb for Cooper Kupp? No, they would not. West is ours with Stafford and current cast. Michael, I tend to agree with you, but I do think that they can all make it. I think they all can make the playoffs. I do think they're worse than the Cardinals, yes. On paper, I think the 49ers are worse than the Cardinals. And, Mark, you mentioned something great there with Derek Carr. I think that's the best fit. I know there's a lot of people talking about, the potential of going out and getting Deshaun Watson, I don't think that that's realistic. I don't think that's going to happen, okay? I don't see it. I really don't think it's going to happen. The way I see it is that the 49ers are going to get a guy like Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. And if that's the case, then I would definitely go Derek Carr. I think Verrett could be a cheap replacement for Hill. I don't know. I think Verrett is going to want his money. He's been through a lot with those injuries, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he does. Let's see. Will the Rams try to get Kenny Golladay? I don't see it, but I mean, I guess if they could figure out a way to save a lot of cap space and have like excess, then yeah, maybe. But I don't see it. I think he's going to be upwards $18 to $22 million. I just don't think the Rams. There's no point of them paying that, in my opinion. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Kenny Golladay fan, but I don't see that happening. I'll leave it at that. I think Marvin Jones and Marvin Hall, two guys that played with Stafford, those are your best bets. I've seen people saying Danny Amendola. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. They don't just need to add a random guy at wide receiver. They want to add a guy that can stretch the field, and I like Danny Amendola, but he doesn't stretch the field. So I'll leave it at that. But let's see here. If the Niners are in win now mode, they won't start a rookie, just saying. I don't think they're in win now mode though. Not the way the Rams are. Like I don't feel like the Niners have that mentality. I mean, I think they're trying to make every year, a win now thing, but I don't think they're in like a mode. Let's see here. Favorite player of all time? Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner, 1A, 1B for me. I'll say that. Let's see. I'm just posting this link. I wasn't able to do all that because we had so many issues to start. Okay. Okay, cool. Shared that around a little bit. All right. I don't think Sherman makes any sense to go to the Rams. I won't rule it out, but I don't think it really makes much sense. Okay. So let's go to the Arizona Cardinals. We're going from bottom to the top. Yeah, I think Sherman's going to go to either the Jets or the Niners. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm inclined to believe that's where he'll end up going, so I would love Creed Humphrey, as you guys know. What are people with green letters? Those are the members. So anybody that signed up for a membership on the channel, $4.99, they got the green lettering and the badge, and there's going to be a members only live stream every month for just members. It's going to be like an hour, but gives you all the the opportunity to kind of have that members only type of vibe. I would love Marvin Hall. Who is Creed Humphrey? He's the center for Oklahoma. So yeah, on to the Cardinals here. And the Cardinals are going to... Here's the thing. The Cardinals were making strides. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I liked the Cardinals coming into last year. But I thought that they were a little further along. They were a year ahead, okay? They have a $19 million in cap space. Felt like they were just a little too far ahead of where they truly were trajectory-wise. Didn't think it was their year last year. Didn't even think it was like the Rams' first year with Sean McVay where they were 11-5 and made the playoffs. Like, I felt like the Cardinals were just not ready for that yet, and that's fine. To me, they're right on schedule. To me, the Cardinals are right on schedule to compete. I look at that 19 million in cap, and I look at the guys that are, available here, and the free agents, and I put Chandler Jones on here, and they might not even bring Chandler Jones back, but I put Chandler Jones on the what is it called? Whatever it is, but all right, so here's what we have. So we have, let's see here. I don't even think this is updated, to be honest with you. Does Spotrac really have Hopkins? Okay, there we go. All right. So their free agents are Patrick Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald, Kenyon Drake, Devondre Campbell, J.R. Sweezy, Corey Peters, Marcus Golden, Hassan Reddick, Zane Gonzalez, Andy Lee, Kelvin Beachum, Drake Kirkpatrick, Chris Bagno, Jonathan Joseph, Damana Pecco. Yeah, so there's a lot of guys here. Dan Arnold, Trent Sherfield, Ezekiel Turner. So yeah, Kevin Peterson, former Ram. Lot of guys. Very, very similar to the 49ers. Almost the same cap number. A lot of players leaving. And I look at this and I think, well, who do you really want to bring back? I think, at this point, Patrick Peterson would be like bringing back a guy just to bring him back because he's had history with the Cardinals. I thought he regressed this year personally, and I've never been super huge on him. I know he is one of the best. He's considered one of the best. I've never been super huge on him, but he's 31 years old. Larry Fitzgerald, I think, is going to retire. Kenyon Drake's an interesting one. They put so much into him, including training for him, and then the transition tag. He's going to be about, let's see. What's his market value here? He's 27 years old, so I'd imagine he's going to get like $12 million. Yeah, I think Sherman goes to the Jets. Oh, okay, so they have him at $8.3 million. So Kenyon Drake at $8.3 million. Devondre Campbell. So a lot of these guys are going to be gone. I mean, personally, I'd bring back Hassan Reddick. I'd bring back Marcus Golden. Here's the thing. The Cardinals are going to be relatively beat up a little bit in this free agency. But I think they'll be fine obviously at wide receiver. You have Christian Kirk. You have Nuke Hopkins. You have Keyshawn Johnson. You have Andy Isabella. I think they'll be fine at wide receiver. Maybe you draft another guy if you want that depth. Their offensive line, for the most part, is intact, except Kelvin Beachum and J.R. Sweezy are going to go into free agency. We'll see where that goes. But having DJ Humphries, Justin Pugh, and Mason Cole solidified on the the interior and the left side of the offensive line, that's important. I think very important. So, and you're saying it's lagging? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on then. Let's see if that does anything. Not audio, just video. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the video, to be honest with you. It's the same settings as yesterday, and I'm having so many issues. I don't get it. I don't know if that'll help. It looks good on my side, so I literally have no idea. It says excellent connection. This is bizarre. Stream health excellent. I have no idea what's going on. I'm not restarting it. It's been the third time. No, I'm in my I'm at my house, unfortunately. I'm moving everything back to the office tomorrow, assuming the weather permits it. Good question, Don. I don't even know who my next special guest is. See, does that do anything? Yeah, tonight is just brutal. All right, well, you guys can hear me, I guess. It's annoying that you guys can't see what I'm saying. It's very laggy. I've tried everything I can. I don't know what's going on. It says I have a perfect connection, so I don't know. Again, same settings as yesterday, so I have no idea what's going on. All right, well, I guess I'll move on. So the Cardinals, I look at them, they have a guy by the name of, we'll see where that goes, Chase Edmonds, and then Eno Benjamin, a guy that they like. They got out of Arizona in the 7th round. I could see them maybe getting a running back in the draft if they move on from Drake. But this is a good offense. I think you need to focus on replacing the right tackle, in my opinion. And then, I think when you look at everything around, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, Keyshawn Johnson, Trent Sherfield. All seems pretty good. So, now the audio's lagging. Go figure. I have no idea how to fix it. Yeah, I have no idea. All right, well, I'm just gonna keep going. This is not my best work, which is annoying because I am somewhat of a perfectionist. But okay, it's not lagging. Gotcha. All right. Well, anyway, the Cardinals. So we had the 49ers. 49ers, I think, are a playoff team if they make a few moves. I think they should move on from Garoppolo. The Cardinals, I think, are better equipped. Zach Allen, Jordan Phillips, Chandler Jones. They need to obviously upgrade the fact, because they're going to lose Devondre Campbell or they'll re-sign him. But they have Jordan Hicks. They have Isaiah Simmons. Marcus Golden's a free agent. They have Kennard. Hassan Reddick's a free agent. I definitely sign Hassan Reddick. I'm a big fan of him. I haven't stopped liking him. Patrick Peterson, I'd move on from. Kevin Peterson, I like, but they'll probably move on from. It's really just Byron Murphy at that point. Everyone else is a free agent, so they're in a similar spot as the 49ers in that regard. What is it? So, Budda Baker, and then they have, Deontay Thompson, as well as their Jalen Thompson, their supplemental draft pick from Washington State. So, yeah, I see this team making a playoff run next year as long as they're able to, patch up those holes. There are some holes there, though. I'm not going to lie. Only having one cornerback on the roster is very similar to, the 49ers right now. So then you look at it, and then we go to Seattle. Or no, we go to the Rams. because Seattle actually won the division somehow. You forget about it, right? You do forget about it because the Rams beat Seattle. So it just, at least it throws me off. I don't know. So the moment you guys have been waiting for, the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm just bringing up everything here, but the Rams, you could argue they're the best set. They're the most set right now for a Super Bowl run. We talked about, the 49ers and Cardinals and how many things that they're missing. The Rams are missing some pieces here going into free agency. Now, that'll change. But for the most part, you look at this depth chart, what's really going on? You have Matthew Stafford at quarterback, John Wolford, Bryce Perkins. Then you have Devlin Hodges at quarterback. So that's a good quarterback room. Akers, Henderson, Xavier Jones, Raymond Calais in the running back room. The wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Simba Webster, and Tristan Jackson. I'd imagine they'll add 1 or 2 wide receivers in that room, but still a good room nonetheless. Whitworth is back. Noteboom, Tremaine Ankrum, David Edwards, Brian Allen, Austin Corbett, Coleman Shelton, Rob Havenstein, Bobby Evans. The only guy that they're potentially losing is Austin Blythe. So if the Rams wanted to, they could run it back with the same crew. Then you look at tight end. They're going to move on from Everett in all likelihood, so it'll be Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins. Johnny Munt is a restricted free agent. We'll see if they bring him back. Then the defense, you have Michael Brockers. You have Sebastian Joseph Day, Greg Gaines, Aaron Donald, Ashawn Robinson, on the line. Morgan Fox and Derek Rivers are considered, they're free agents, so we'll see if they bring him back. I think Fox has a shot. Rivers has a shot as well because I think he'll be relatively cheap, but I could see a team overpaying Morgan Fox. Then, on the edge, Okoronkwo, and then you have Terrell Lewis, you have Justin Lawler, you have Justin Hollins, and that's it. So that is the one biggest thing, I think, for the Rams is the edge position or, will or whatever you want to call it. Anybody rushing off the edge, because we don't know if they're going to be in a 4-3, 3-4 base. We know that they'll be multiple. We know that they'll play nickel, but we don't know exactly what their base formation will look like, and that's why I'm just saying edge. So Okoronkwo has a hard time staying healthy. Terrell Lewis really has a hard time staying healthy. Justin Lawler can't stay healthy. Justin Hollins is going to be the only one that really has shown that he can somewhat stay healthy. So they're going to need to go out and get some guys either in free agency or the draft. I've suggested, going after maybe a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. Could be relatively cheap because I think he's flying under the radar. It's a really big edge class. You could also, in free agency I'm talking about, you could also go with Tyus Bowser, somebody that I really liked out of Houston. He could come in there and make something happen. But yeah, there are definitely some guys there. Steven Means, Charles Harris, both from Raheem Morris's defense. We'll see if that works or comes into play at all. Then the linebackers, you have Kaiser, you have Reeder, you have Kenny Young, and Trayvon Howard is a free agent. I believe he's an exclusive rights free agent, so they could bring him back pretty easily. I imagine that they'll address the linebacker position, add 1 or 2 guys there. And then the corners, you have Troy Hill, who's free agent, Darius Williams, restricted, Jalen Ramsey, he's there, and David Long is there. So they only have 2 corners that are on the roster as of right now. And they have 3 because signing a futures deal was Dante Dion, so he'd be the 3rd corner. So obviously you want to see them bring back Darius Williams. But I definitely think that they could look to draft a corner or go after a cheaper corner in free agency. Then the safeties, you have Jordan Fuller. John Johnson is a free agent. I want him back. We'll see if that works. So Jordan Fuller, Taylor Rapp, Terrell Burgess, J.R. Reed, Nick Scott, and Juju Hughes. They're relatively loaded in the back end of the secondary with the safeties. Obviously John Johnson would be a huge add if they could bring him back. But this is my point, folks, and this is why I say that they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. This is why Matthew Stafford has my MVP pick, because this team, just reading off of everything, they have some spots to fill. but they're nowhere near as needy as, say, the 49ers or the Cardinals. So I think that's important to keep in mind. Also, the Rams have negative 25 million, or sorry, negative 34 million in cap space. What they can do is they can restructure Donald, Ramsey, Stafford, Kupp, Woods, Whitworth, Brockers, Havenstein, and Higbee, and free up quite a bit. We'll see what they do. It's an unprecedented season. We're not used to the salary cap going down in a league that is absolutely thriving and has become basically the most important thing in America almost. But then again, that's what happens with COVID. Fans haven't been able to show up, so there's a chance that the salary could go down. They did adjust the salary cap on Spotrac in 2021 to 190 million. So that's something to keep in mind. We'll see. We'll see where they go with that. But that is something to keep in mind. And of course, keep this in mind. Their active contracts right now would have them $4 million under the cap, or $4 million over the cap. What is pushing them over the cap, what they're doing, is simply their active contracts is $194 million, but they have $30 million in dead money. So that's something that you have to keep in mind, and why the Rams are all of a sudden, they have all this dead cap. They have $5 million rolled over from the previous year, though, so that also helps. I think they could do a myriad of things. You could see them go out and, I don't know, maybe they go out and they acquire, another safety, like a DeMonte Casey that can play all over the secondary, played with Raheem Morris. Maybe they go out and get a Marvin Hall or a Marvin Jones, really a field stretcher. Maybe they go out and get a linebacker, like a Hassan Reddick or somebody like that. Or, an edge defender like Clowney or, Tyus Bowser or Melvin Ingram. So, there are options there for sure. And it's something to definitely keep in mind. Let's see. All right. I saw the news on Andrew Luck, and I'm not convinced it's real. I think he's retiring. He's going to stay retired is my point. I don't know. Von Miller has some legal issues going on. I don't think it's necessarily a guarantee he comes back to football, to be honest with you. So that's the Rams. At the end of the day, I think they're well ahead of the Cardinals and the Niners. I can picture everyone in this division in the playoffs. I think the Rams are definitely a notch ahead of those two. So now we move on to the NFC champions, NFC West champion, Seattle Seahawks. And they have, and we'll go over it here. They have an interesting little team here. So here is Seattle. Seattle takes forever. I'm not spoiling anything on the WandaVision. Don't spoil in my comment section. I love y'all, but please, no spoilers. I'll be seeing it at 3 a.m. Probably not. I'll probably watch tomorrow morning, but anyway. Seattle. Free agents. KJ Wright, Bruce Irvin, Jacob Hollister, Benson Mayowa, Carlos Hyde, Mike Iupati, Cedric Abui, Quentin Dunbar, Geno Smith, Nico Thorpe, Ethan Pochik, Nick Bellore, Brandon Jackson, Philip Dorsett, Josh Gordon. Wow, that's a throwback name. Hasn't played in a minute. Demarius Randall, DeMontre Moore, David Moore, somebody that is, they like him a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back. Chad Wheeler, but we don't have to talk about him. Scumbag. Shaquille Griffin, Delano Hill, Kyle Fuller, the center, Shaquem Griffin, Jordan Simmons, and this list keeps going on. But pretty much what you need to know at the end of this is they call him Christopher Carson, the running back, And Poona Ford, the defensive tackle, he's a restricted free agent. So a lot of these guys, Griffin, Fuller, they're restricted free agents. Everyone else is unrestricted free agent. So this is how it looks for the Seattle Seahawks, and we're going to go over their depth chart here. First and foremost, Seattle has $13 million in cap space to bring back Chris Carson or Dunbar or Shaq Griffin or David Moore. So that's going to be something that they are going to have to evaluate there. Russell Wilson also is coming up on another extension potentially. Spotrac has him calculated market value at $46.4 million. So he would be the highest paid quarterback. So that I foresee that happening soon. But they're going to have to make something happen here. Dunlap is due $14 million this year in cap hit. Bobby Wagner, $17 million. Russell Wilson, $32 million. Lockett, $13. Jamal Adams, $13. Jamal Adams, $9. Dwayne Brown, $13. Jaron Reed, $13. Quandre Diggs, $5. Brandon Shell. I don't know why they're paying Brandon Shell so much money. He's due over $5. Rashad Penny over $3. So yeah, there's they're gonna have to do some retooling here, and I look at this offense, and you have Shane Waldron, so now they'll have more of a Sean McVay approach, for the offense. You have Russell Wilson, Geno Smith's a free agent, so they'll have to find a backup. Chris Carson is a free agent, so Carlos Hyde's also a free agent. It would be Rashad Penny. If they let those guys go, it would be Penny, the first-round pick in 2018. Travis Homer, DJ Dallas, a fourth-round pick that they like a lot from this past draft class, and Patrick Carr. Then the wide receivers, you have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Freddie Swain, and that's it. Philip Dorsett and David Moore are both expected to be free agents. We'll see if they bring either back. Dwayne Brown is a free agent. Mike Upati's a free agent. Brandon Shell's a free agent. Ethan Pochik is a free agent. So Seattle has potentially one returning offensive lineman coming back. So I think that's something to keep in mind, is that you'd be looking at Damian Lewis, a guy, if you guys ever saw my profile picture on Twitter or Facebook, the guy I was interviewing at the Senior Bowl was Damian Lewis out of LSU, third-round pick. I loved him a lot. They like him a lot. But he would be it. They have Phil Haynes, who they drafted in 2019 in the fourth round. He'd be the backup. Bowie is a free agent. Fuller's a free agent. He's a restricted free agent. Then they have Jordan Simmons and Jamarco Jones, a fifth-rounder from 2018. My point is that Seattle is hurting. That offensive line, there's going to be some retooling that needs to be done, and this offensive line has never done a good job of protecting Russell Wilson. And they're going to need to in a Sean McVay-like offense. Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson, Hollister is a free agent, and Luke Wilson. Will Dissly, I like him. Colby Parkinson, I like him a lot, friend of the podcast. I like Jacob Hollister, but we'll see if he commands some money in free agency. And then Luke Wilson is a solid blocking tight end. And Nick Bellore, their fullback, is also a free agent. So, I mean, let's just be on this, okay? I will say this straight up, and we'll ignore that comment. Please ignore the comment. You know what I'm talking about, folks. Just ignore it. Anyway. So, Shane Waldron, OC, Ken Norton Jr., defensive coordinator. Larry Izzo is the special teams coordinator, head coached by Pete Carroll. This Seattle Seahawks team has a offensive line that is basically one guy right now. We'll see how that works out. We'll see if they bring back Dwayne Brown. They have a lot of retooling to do. They have two elite receivers, or close to elite receivers, in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. David Moore would be, I think, a big loss for them. I think they like him a lot. Freddie Swain, a sixth-rounder in 2020. He could come in and probably fill the void. But I will say that, I don't love their offense. I don't. Then you look at their defense, okay? So then their defense here, they have LJ Collier. I like him. First-round pick in 2019. Benson Mayo was a free agent. They have Carlos Dunlap, who they're paying a pretty penny for. Poona Ford is a restricted free agent. I'd be shocked if he leaves that building. Very underrated player. Rasheem Green, somebody that I think has started to turn it around a little bit, 2018 third-round pick. Jerron Reed, somebody that they like a lot. Jonathan Bullard, Brandon Jackson's a free agent. Bruce Irvin's a free agent. Darrell Taylor is a second rounder in 2020, so he'll get an opportunity. Alton Robinson, fifth rounder in 2020. Demontre Moore, Jordan Brooks, first rounder in 2020. Shaquem Griffin's a restricted free agent. I think they'll bring him back. Bobby Wagner, Cody Barton, third rounder in 2019 out of Utah. KJ Wright is a free agent. Ben Burke-Irvin is somebody I really liked in the draft out of Washington in 2019. He was a fifth-round pick. Shaquille Griffin's a free agent. Then, Nico Thorpe's a free agent. Then Jason Stanley would be the next guy in line. Quentin Dunbar's a free agent. Trey Flowers is there. Lyndon Stevens and DJ Reed. DJ Reed plays some great football towards the end of the year. So that might be one of the steals, I think, the fact that they picked him up from the Niners on waivers. So let's just take a look at this. Also, their safeties, Marquise Blair, Quandre Diggs, Ugo Amadi, Oregon safety from the 19 draft in fourth round. Jamal Adams, who we know they traded a lot for. Delano Hill, Ryan Neal, and Demarius Randall, who's a free agent. So here's what I'll say. You look at the Seahawks, and we talked about it. The Seahawks, on the offensive side, so the offensive side, we had one offensive lineman that was starting that is expected to be on the roster next year. The other guys are free agents. Not ideal. David Moore, a slot receiver they like a lot, expected to be a free agent. And then Chris Carson, their top running back, and their backup running back, Carlos Hyde, are expected to be a free agent. So that's a lot of pressure put on Rashad Penny, who, to be honest with you, I'm not really huge on. Then you look at the defensive line, you look at the defensive side, and the defensive line looks all right. Rasheem Green, Benson Mayowa is probably going to be a free agent. Bruce Irvin's a free agent. KJ Wright's a free agent. So, there's that front seven, there's a little bit of a mix up there. But then when you get to the secondary, it's not great at cornerback, to be honest with you. Right now, it would be Trey Flowers, DJ Reed, Jason Stanley, Lyndon Stevens. So, folks, this is why people are worried about the Rams and losing everybody. The Rams are so depth-filled that they are losing all these guys, and they're fine. They're going to be fine. I'm inclined to believe maybe Seattle might be the worst team. No, I think Seattle 100% is the worst team in the NFC West, based on what I've seen. But you know what keeps Seattle going? Russell Wilson keeps Seattle going. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think Seattle is that great of a football team, to be honest with you. Every year, it seems like it's the Russell Wilson show. Last year, it was bizarre because they flip-flopped. They went from, wow, they might set records with this offense, to then, wow, this defense is historically bad, to, wow, all of a sudden now this defense is the reason they're winning football games. So they're going to have to figure that cornerback position out. And then looking in the draft, they traded picks away, folks. So, just like looking at Seattle's picks here, let's see here. I think they won't be picking in the second round as well, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, let's take a look here. So, Seattle has... They could let me know. Sheesh. Okay. This is not working out. Okay. All right. So they have a second rounder. They don't have a first. They have a fourth. They don't have a third. Okay, so just to realize. Okay, so Seattle is sitting here with a second, a fourth, a fifth, a seventh, and another seventh. That's it. Not a lot of cap space, about $13 million in cap. I'm sorry, folks. Seattle's not in a good spot, and, I don't see them being a Super Bowl contender, to be honest with you. I think they're a team that can make the playoffs because of Russell Wilson. I don't see this team winning a Super Bowl. And we'll see what they do, but I don't see it. This is why I'm actually really high on the Rams, is because they have a lot of the same guys coming back. I mean, for the most part, they're going to have some pieces to fill, but they did a nice job of addressing it via the draft. I'd make the argument that they could have done a little bit better at addressing the edge defense because, look, I mean, Terrell Lewis, I know he fell into their lap, but this guy was never healthy, So I think that's something to keep in mind. I think the Rams should go edge, to be honest with you. We'll see if they do. But then, Seattle only has a second, a fourth, a fifth, and 2 sevenths. It's not good. The Cardinals have a first rounder. They have a second rounder. They have a third, a fifth, and a seventh. So that's not horrible. And then the 49ers. Let's see here. 49ers have a first, a second, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, and a seventh. So they have a fifth because of the trade for Kiko Alonso. The Saints did. And they have a seventh because of the trade with the Jets, Jordan Willis. Yeah, see, Coach, I got to tell you, I think the 49ers need to go out and get Zach Wilson. If you missed earlier what I was saying. I'm not super high on Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't think the 49ers are as good as they used to be. And so for that reason, I don't think that they can just trot out Jimmy Garoppolo and say, you know what, we have a good enough defense to win it all. Because I don't think they do. I don't think that I don't think they're as good. And there's so many free agents. They need a lot of help. I'm looking at the NFC West, and I'm thinking, after, going through this with you guys, the Rams are pretty well equipped. The Cardinals might even come in second place this year. Seattle is entirely, because of, well, think about it, Russell Wilson. And the 49ers, I mean, who's going to play cornerback for them? Who's going to, they're missing out. They have some issues on their offensive line. They definitely need to bring back Trent Williams. So, I mean, I think all four of them can make the playoffs, but I mean, I'm genuinely concerned if I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan sitting there and who is going to play on the offensive line? Not a lot of assets. You don't have a first round pick. You don't have a third round pick. It's a second, a fourth, a fifth, and 2 sevenths. And then people were like, the Rams gave up too much for Matthew Stafford. Yeah, they gave up so much that the Rams actually have a second, 2 thirds, a fourth, a sixth, a seventh, and 2 sevenths. I mean, that's a lot to give up for a franchise quarterback. Psh. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking here and I'm thinking, well, the Rams have an opportunity to go out and get a corner. They have an opportunity to go out and get a linebacker and an edge defender. Get a field-stretching wide receiver in free agency. And there you go. I mean, for the most part, they're relatively good. And the thing is, that if they don't get John Johnson back, I don't think they need to replace him. I think John Johnson is more of an addition than somebody that needs to be... he's an add-on to what they have. I don't think necessarily you have to replace John Johnson. I think it's the fact that he's hard to replace. That, if you can get him, you keep him. If not, whatever. But the Rams are sitting there 57th. And, they have a lot of compensatory picks on the way, of course. But 57th, and then the 6th round and the 7th round, they'll have another 7th round pick for the Keep Sleep trade. They'll have compensatory picks. They're going to get a pick for Brad Holmes' hire. And they're going to get a pick for losing Dante Fowler, which will be a third rounder. In the fourth round, they'll get a pick for Corey Littleton. The fifth round was traded away for Austin Corbett. So I think the Rams can, I think they can do it, folks. Feeling pretty good about it. You know? What happened to the Rams helmet? I'm not in that studio. I'm at my house. Yeah, it's a completely different setup. And I'll be going back there. Don't worry. I'm definitely going back there. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I think John Johnson's a luxury. I think they can win a Super Bowl without him, but I think he makes everything a lot easier. I will say I would absolutely love going out and getting a Hamza Nasruddin. I like him a lot. A guy that can play, I think, safety, can play corner. And I'm not going to lie, I like Charles Snowden a lot. Someone brought him up over here. Yeah, sorry this stream hasn't been as good. I mean, I think the content's fine. It's just a matter of, the quality. And I don't know why the quality sucks so much tonight, but it does. Yeah, JJ3 definitely brings a good vibe to the defense. Drafting a center, yeah, I'm inclined to believe that drafting a guy like Creed Humphrey would make a lot of sense. So, Clowney gonna sign with us for like $5 million. Watch, they have breakout year, leave to make money. Yeah, we'll see. And his cousin Ed. My God. Where are we at, by the way, on Dogecoin? Oh, okay. Well, he dropped into the water. It's down to 48 now. Ideal offseason, Kareem, for the Rams, I'm assuming. My ideal offseason would be to bring back John Johnson. Okay, so restructure all the guys you need to restructure. I don't care how crazy it looks. Restructure them all. Bring back John Johnson. Sign Marvin Jones. Sign Tyus Bowser. And then the draft, get Creed Humphrey at center in the second round. The 2 third-round picks, use one of them to go out and get a linebacker, maybe like Charles Snowden. And then the other one, if you can, I'd say get Ifeatu Melifonwu or get Asante Samuel's kid, Asante Samuel Jr. Realistically, I think the Rams can get Bowser. I think the Rams can get Marvin Jones. It's all about the restructures. I think the restructures open up Pandora's box in a good way. But I mean, if they don't get those restructures done, they decide not to do them, they're going to not be able to do anything. I don't see that happening, though. I like Bowser a lot. Not just because his name is Bowser, as I yawn. Ed Reed? I mean, he's one of the best safeties of all time, so I guess yay. I think Marvin Jones wants to go to the Rams, but we've seen it before. Everybody was really quick to be like, Pierre Garçon's going to the Rams. It's a done deal. I saw Deshaun Jackson tweeting about LA. It's a done deal. And then neither of those guys signed. I don't think you're crazy. Antonio Brown would be good on the Rams. If they can make it work, why not? I don't think Taylor Rapp has any trade value right now. Young player, had a solid rookie season. His second year, he went down with injury, was hampered by injury pretty much the majority of the year. I love Stafford. I'd pay for him all over again. I'd sign him to a 5-year deal right now. Extend it for 7 years. Put in Les Snead at wide receiver and they will be a beast. What? Interior offensive lineman you're targeting? I'd say, what is it? Landon Young from Kentucky, I think his name is. He's up there. Creed Humphrey, first and foremost. David Moore, Grambling State. My guy Blaine Grisack is all over him. Yeah, I mean those are some guys. Dickerson. Yeah. I'm exhausted, if you can't tell. Quinn Miners as well. However you say his name. Bryce Perkins should return punts. Until his back becomes a problem, you guys want to do something more drop back passing game, but your O-line ain't built for that. I disagree. The offensive line was top 10 in the league. It's been top 10 in the league for a while now. Like, I mean, they've been top 10 in the league since McVay came there, and I think 2019 was the only time they fell off a little bit. Receivers I like in this draft, well, I got to go more into the film, but, just kind of eyeballing it. I mean, I'd say a guy like Amari Rodgers is somebody that really stands out to me. Nico Collins out of Michigan, Amari Rodgers at Clemson. Yeah, I mean, Austin Watkins out of UAB, Marquez Stevenson at Houston. Aside from that, Blake Prohl. He interests me. Ricky Prohl's kid. I mean, I'd love to get it like a Kadarius Toney, but I mean that's not likely. Tutu Atwell as well. Yeah, I like Dwayne Eskridge. I like Tutu Atwell. I like Jalen Darden from North Texas. Shi Smith is somebody that's brought up here a lot. Rondale Moore, he won't fall, but if he did, that'd be something. And then I like Cade Johnson from South Dakota State. As far as like, well, let's go each position, right? So we'll start off at quarterback. Is there any quarterback that you guys would want, knowing you have Stafford for at least the next 2 years, could be more? I think that obviously puts them out of the realm of Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. They have pretty much no ammo to trade up and get a first-round pick. So then you look at quarterbacks like Mac Jones. Could he fall? Who knows? Kyle Trask, Jamie Newman, Kellen Mond, Ian Book. I like Davis Mills out of Stanford. He's interesting. Zach Thomas out of Appalachian State. I like Felipe Franks, KJ Costello, Brady White, Shane Buechele. Are you looking at... So, drop your name. I mean, like, to me, I think, like, Kellen Mond, if you're going for a developmental guy, he makes sense. But, if you're not going after a developmental guy, I don't see the point of... I don't know. I like Davis Mills out of Stanford. And Zach Thomas. Those are like my sleepers. Yeah, no, I'd like Kellen Mond would be a good developmental guy. What about running backs? You guys want any running backs in this draft? I mean, I think, you'd be looking at guys like Kenneth Gainwell, Trey Sermon, Javonte Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Jarrett Patterson, Kylan Hill, Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana Lafayette, Master Teague from Ohio State, Larry Roundtree from Missouri. I don't know, anybody interested in those guys? Stephen Carr at USC. I mean, personally, I don't think they should go after a running back, but if they went after Kylan Hill, interests me a lot. I like him a lot. Wide receiver, we kind of already went over, but Nico Collins, Amari Rodgers. I feel like TJ Vasher has literally played for years, and he's finally going in the NFL draft. Tight ends, I mean, guys that would be available, maybe Pat Freiermuth from Penn State, Brevin Jordan, I like a lot out of Miami. I think they're good at tight end. I think if you're going to look at anybody at tight end, you're going to look near the bottom. Nick Eubanks out of Michigan, maybe. Pro Wells out of TCU. Tommy Tremble, Notre Dame. Noah Gray out of Duke. I mean, there's no point of going after like a top tight end. Then offensive tackle. And the offensive tackle, I think, is interesting here. Christian Darrisaw, I think it's going to go first round. Alex Leatherwood's an interesting one. I think if he's there, he could be an option. Jackson Carman from Clemson. Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. Elijah Vera Tucker from USC. Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. Walker Little from Stanford, Dylan Radunes from North Dakota State, Trey Smith from Tennessee, Alaric Jackson from Iowa. I don't know. Does any of those guys pique your interest? I mean, I look at the Rams and I think, maybe if they went out and got Dylan Radunes, but I like Leatherwood. He's probably the best of the bunch that I mentioned. I just don't think they really need a tackle, if I'm being honest. I think guard, you could argue. Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. Ben Cleveland out of Georgia. Deontay Brown out of Alabama. Aaron Banks at Notre Dame. Quinn Miners from Whitewater. Cedarius Hutcherson from South Carolina. Tommy Kramer from Notre Dame. Quinn Miners, yeah. Braylon Jones from Houston as well is another guy. Yeah. No, I get that. And then center. As soon as it loads. All right. Center here, Creed Humphrey. That's my guy. Landon Dickerson from Alabama. Drake Jackson from Kentucky. Trey Hill from Georgia. There's some guys there. There's not a ton, but there are some guys. We'll look at edge. Who you guys want at edge? I mean, there's guys like Carlos Basham. It depends on what they're in, what type of personnel. Jason Oweh. Jalen Phillips. It's pretty incredible what Miami had, having Jalen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau, and Quincy Roche. I mean, all those guys could go in the first 2 days. Patrick Jones out of Pitt is another one that's interesting. Hamilcar Rashed from Oregon State. Rashad Weaver from Pitt. Chris Rump from Duke. Shaka Toney from Penn State. Dalen Hayes from Notre Dame. Jordan Smith from UAB. Malcolm Kuntz from Buffalo. I like him. No one's really talking about him, but I like him. Someone mentioned earlier I want to say the Coastal Carolina guy. Yes. Ashton did. I'm trying to find him. CJ Brewer. Yeah. So, out of those guys, is there anybody that you want the Rams to grab? I like Roche a lot, by the way. He's going to be near the top, I think. But we'll see. Yeah, don't worry too much about sacks, though. Floyd started, and Fox really didn't. Fox was a rotational pass rusher who got 6 sacks, so I did really like that. I thought he was good value for sure. Well, let's look at the inside linebackers, corners, and then we'll wrap up this stream. I don't want to bore you guys. So, all right. So what we have here, I doubt Nick Bolton from Mizzou falls, but if he does, he's an option. Chaz Surratt, I like a lot. Zaven Collins from Tulsa, Pete Werner from Ohio State, KJ Britt from Auburn, Monty Rice from Georgia, Errol Thompson from Mississippi State, Patty Fisher from Northwestern. So yeah, there's some guys here. I mean, I really like I like Snowden, and I like Surratt probably the most. Oh, and Moses. Yes, thank you for mentioning him. I definitely like Dylan Moses. I've liked him for years. Landon Dickerson would be a good pickup for sure. I want a tone setter at center. I've said that a lot, but you know. Yeah, everything's going wrong for me. Okay. So, we'll look at the corners, and then we'll head on out of here. Yeah, so some guys that could be around for the Rams: Asante Samuel Jr., Afito Melifonwu, Tyson Campbell out of Georgia, Paulson Adebo out of Stanford, Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, Elijah Molden out of Washington, Eric Stokes out of Georgia. Then you have Kari Vincent out of LSU, Aaron Robinson out of UCF. And then a couple other guys I like. Brian Mills from NC Central. And then Cameron Bynum out of California. And there's one more guy I'm looking for right now. There's some cool names, though. DiCaprio Boodle and Rashad Wild Goose. Yeah. Robert Rochelle, the Central Arkansas guy. I like him. Oh, yeah. No, I know the stream's lagging. That's why I'm kind of ready to get out, but appreciate you guys hanging in there. It was not our best. I promise you I will do everything I can to make sure that this is better quality next time. It's a bummer. You spend some time, like over an hour or whatever, watching this, and it doesn't end up being the way, you've been watching it. Like I said, I don't know what happened. It was pretty much the same settings I had before. So I don't know what's going on, but I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And if you want to, support the channel, or if you want to, join, you want to get a badge, you want to get your name highlighted, what have you, be sure to join the subscription. It's $4.99 a month. I'll post a link before I head out of here. That way, if you're interested, you can join. If not, no worries. It's not a big deal. So we'll do that, and then we'll head out, and we'll be looking at Saturday is the next stream because I'm going to take tomorrow off. I think I'm going to move everything in the office. Maybe I'll do a live stream. Maybe. Well, you know, maybe we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm just dropping it right now. There's the It's Not You at Super Bowl Thursday. Mofos got paid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely annoyed, but you know, in the next stream will be a lot better. Promise you that. So thanks again, folks. Again, if you want to join, there's the link. And yeah, we'll do something either tomorrow or Saturday. I'll let you guys know. Gonna drop probably an interview tomorrow on the channel, and that's gonna be it. So if you like me, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I do follow back. It's at JKBoganDTSN. I'm on Instagram at JKBogan. And I also operate the Downtown Rams at Downtown Rams Twitter, as well as at DT Sports Network, Downtown Sports Network, LLC, Twitter as well. So, again, thank you guys. Appreciate hanging in there. Sorry this whole thing sucked, but you know, I think we made some leeway out of it. It's still not bad content. I thought I had a nice plan of attack, but then, you know, we ran into good old technical difficulties. So, again, love you guys. I'll see myself out, but, you know, thanks again, and we'll talk soon. Later, folks.